Thank you for coming tonight. I'd like to start with public presentations, if anybody has anything that they'd like to comment on. Rick?
Nope, I'm good.
Good. Okay. All right. Bless you. Public hearings, local law introductory I, amend vehicle and traffic chapter stop sign for Wilbur Road. Ontario Wilbur Road, sorry. Chief?
I've been in discussions with the superintendent of the DPW probably over the last 6 to 12 months about that intersection and seen a significant increase in traffic coming off the arterial into that development to access National Grid and to access New Hartford Street. Really, this started way back when 840 opened up and they pretty much shut down New Hartford Street. There is a need to make that a four-way stop intersection, especially since of all the big trucks from NIMO and the town DPW having issues getting through that intersection there. So my recommendation is we do make it a four-way stop intersection.
Okay.
Is it currently 2 ways now?
2, yes, just on either end of Wilbur.
No, I think this is the introductory. We didn't schedule the public hearing. This is it? Okay, well then open it up. Should open the public hearing.
I was in contact with the homeowner that he rents that house out, and he agreed to us that we yanked out 3 of his trees that were in our right-of-way, so those have been removed.
Okay.
One tree he would like to save, and he's going to move that over himself within the next week or so. So the trees have been moved too.
It's at that intersection?
Yes.
This is the public hearing.
Does anybody have a comment on the situation in public? Anybody? Motion to close public hearing?
I'll move it.
Motion by Rich. Second. Second by Phil. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Would you like to act on that one now, or? Sure. Okay. Have a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the stop sign placement at Ontario and Wilbur Road, making it a 4-way stop.
Okay. Motion by Dave.
Second.
Second by Phil. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Local law introductory J, amend chapter 25, fingerprinting fees increase. Chief?
Again, when we started fingerprinting over 20 years ago or so, started offering that service to the public because of the need, people walking in that needed basically civilian fingerprints taken for mostly employment purposes at the request of their employer. Those fees were set at $8 for residents, $12 for non-residents, again, over 20 years ago, and that was per card. There are so many times now where we're calling an officer off the road from out west because it might be the only car that we have free to come into the station to do this fingerprinting detail. I think it's time after 20 plus years to raise these fees up. Our fees are really low compared to what the other agencies are charging, which is $75 and up.
What do people come in for these fingerprints for?
Mostly employment applications, financial companies and so forth.
Any licensing, a lot of the licensing agencies require passports. You don't, do you do them for passports?
No passports.
They have to do those at the county, right?
No passports, but a lot of people that are trying to get law licenses,
Yeah.
whether it's a state, out of state, and so forth. It's really quite extensive, the people that come in and ask.
Thank you, Chief. Anybody from public have any comments? Motion to close public hearing. Motion by Jim. Second. Second by Phil. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Would you like to act on anybody for motion?
I move that we accept the fees.
Motion by Rich.
Second.
Second by Dave. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay. Presentation and comments. Anyone for any presentations or comments? Reports of town officials by standing committee. Town clerk committee, Councilman Woodland.
The proposal for the print of the county $9,800.
Yeah.
It's,
3780?
37 is the postage that we'll have to up front. And then the actual, their charge for printing and mailing is about $2,300
So it's the 23,090 plus the 3,070.
for approximately 9,000 pieces of mail.
Make the motion that we, have the cathedral print the bills.
Motion by Rich,
Second.
second by Dave, discussion. Just one thing I wanted to bring up. We looked into seeing that the printing from Oneida County, by giving up our fees, was actually, this is less than what it would be because our fees are way higher than this. So,
It would have cost us money to give up those fees.
correct, yep, so this,
Significant money.
yep. So going this way was the best scenario. So, any other comments, Ken?
If we vote on it,
I'm sorry?
if we're going to vote on it, then I'll bring something else about that.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve?
We made it.
Okay. Discuss, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Okay, what address are we putting on the bills? Because election will start January 2nd
I would put our new town hall address on there.
in the town hall.
Or Elm Street.
Trying to make it easier.
Or Juniper Lane.
All right, so 86, what is it, 86?
It's 20. I don't know off the top of my head.
You can go on up.
All right, Director of Finance, audit bill and voucher pay bills. Did everyone take a look at the bills? Have a motion to approve?
So,
Motion by Dave, second by Phil. I think, Dave, you wanted to bring something up about the,
I just want to point out that we're paying late fees on the National Grid bills, and we really shouldn't be, and I talked to Dan, Dan's gonna look at that, see if we can avoid it, that's, those, that's.
and also too, the
those
credit
should be
card fees
pre-approved.
is something I brought up a while ago, you know, and I've been trying, I don't know if that's a way too with the credit card fees, because again, by the time we get them to the table and they're approved, and she sends a check out, they're automatically late.
But these items, and the council can correct me, those are approved when we do at the annual meeting, we approve payment of those. So they're contractually, so there shouldn't be. Now, I don't know about the credit card, I don't know. if we can
I'm
do
gonna
that.
send a letter to them explaining our process and asking them to waive it.
Which is certainly
And
reasonable.
then with the NIMO bills, I don't know, because again, how many times do we print checks? Because that's the major thing. If it doesn't fall in that section, they're late because there's only one time we print checks out and then they become late. Because there's a
There's
small.
gotta be a way to avoid paying
We
late
can
fees.
print checks for those every time we do payroll, which is every other week.
Okay.
We had to because they're already pre-approved.
Right. Okay.
It's a matter of whether we get them and it goes through, the process to Lisa's
Okay.
desk.
And I'd like to check the addresses because they all should be going to Lisa instead of all over. Because I think some go over to Rick and some go to other offices, so they're,
Okay, we need to correct.
all right. So we'll look at it tomorrow and try to figure it out.
change the address to do that.
It is 8635, just
Okay,
verify. thanks.
Okay. Highway Committee, Councilman Citadino.
I have an appointment of three employees, Thomas Farley for labor, full-time permanent position. His hourly salary will be $14.70 per hour.
Okay. And this is per union contract, and this is a replacement.
Can we do all of them at once?
We gotta do one at a time.
One at a time, right? Oh, I'm sorry, the start date is 10/28/18. I have a motion for this.
So moved.
Motion for Phil, second by Dave. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I have Matthew Brown. His salary will be $11 $10.50 per hour. It's a union contract. Start date would be 10/28/18. Full-time permanent position, and it would be labor also.
That was, take someone else's position.
Who do they replaced Tim Solon?
Tim Solon and Jesse Callahan is going to corrections.
Motion by Phil,
Second.
second by Dave, discussion. All in favor? Aye.
And the third one is Jeffrey Kolek. And his salary would be $11.50 an hour. This is temporary, and start date is 10/12/18, and he will be a laborer also. I'd like to make a motion for that.
Motion by Phil, second by Jim, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You have a sign as well?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other ideas or comments?
Yeah, I'd just like to thank council for getting that letter to Steve Pierce regarding the retention pond, potential retention pond on Foxcroft. I think there's a copy in everybody's mailbox. I hope this spurs a meeting.
I think it will.
Thank you.
Yep, thanks. Anything else? Phil? Nothing. Okay. Couple things, hydro seeding. We have our hydro seed machine. What I'd like to do is set a rate for that, if we could. That'd be the charge across the boards. It's for FEMA reimbursement, and then again, if Rick does piping for someone and we charge back, we have to have a standard set rate. We've looked into the rates and stuff, and 10 cents a square foot, is a fair rate. That's what's charged for that.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, so I didn't know if we can approve that, then we can use that as a set rate for, any jobs that we have or anything that we have to get reimbursed for.
Make a motion to set the rate for hydro seed at 10 cents per square foot.
Motion by Dave,
Second.
second by Phil, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
The tax parcel we spoke about last week, there was an offer on it. There was a property behind the highway department. We got the appraisal in from Donato Real Estate. I'll have council take a look at that. It was in line with the offer, and after,
This is the landlocked vacant parcel, 32 acres, everybody's familiar with.
It's more behind the crate.
Yeah.
right,
You
yeah, we're
indicated
landlocked from it.
That there's no use for
No
it.
use for it's
No town
landlocked.
use.
It's on the other side of the tracks.
It doesn't attach to the rail trail,
No, railroad tracks breaks it apart.
so you want to go forward with the sale, which would be subject to referendum.
Correct,
You
yep,
don't want to set a referendum,
right,
because it needs to go out for referendum.
right. But Gail has to put it in the paper for the 30
Yes.
days, correct?
Yep.
Yep.
That's what we said it was coming in, right?
Yeah, so we're in line, and, it's a piece that you can't use anyway, so. So if I can have a motion, we publish it. Motion by Jim,
Second.
second by Phil, discussion. All in favor? Here, yeah, those are all the information, tax rate numbers. Let's get appraisal. Okay, I have some mitigation fees. One, the Special Metals Federal Credit Union. They are adding 900 square foot of pavement. Total fees that I calculated using the standard fees is $666. They came in and actually paid that. They also came back today to drop off the 10% retainer. I have not signed the pre-development agreement yet, so I'm asking for approval to sign that so they can go ahead with that.
So moved.
Motion by Dave,
Second.
second by Phil, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We have another one, Benderson, total mitigation fees for the project that they have is $16,441.80. I have a pre-development agreement that I have not signed yet. They did bring in the check for the mitigation fees. They will bring in the retainer when they come down to sign the pre-development agreement, and I need a motion to approve those fees and sign the pre-development agreement.
Move it.
Motion by Phil, second by Jim, discussion. All in favor? Aye. Okay. I have, National Grid wants to add add square footage to a building. Its total is $2,820 in mitigation fees. Again, I didn't sign the pre-development agreement yet, and I need approval to sign that and also accept their retainer.
So moved.
Motion by Dave,
Second.
second by Phil, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Adopt new sexual harassment policy per law. Barb, would you like to talk about this? Sure.
The state has passed new ruling that everybody has to put in place by, I think it was actually yesterday, they have to have a new sexual harassment policy in place and distribute it to all the employees. And then they stated that we have until next October of 19 to do our training on it. So I passed out, or I've given Rich copies of it. He's going to pass out. Just have to designate a person that used to be town supervisor, so I'm assuming that that's who we'll have again.
Hey, Bart, you and Rich and I, we had spent some time updating our policy. I'm guessing this probably conforms very closely to the work that we did.
Right, yep, and then we can review it
Yep.
further and go forward, but with the state coming out, we obviously have to proceed a little faster. So we can just fill this in, I'm assuming, when the town supervisor in
Yeah, I
there.
think we talked about that.
Pass it
We were
out.
going to ask Paul if he would.
Yes, we will do that. We will do the person that.
Point of contact.
This goes into the employee handbook.
This will go into the
Yes.
employees handbook, it'll go out to all the employees, and then we'll have until next October to do training. I think they're still working on the exact rules and everything that has to be done.
Who's gonna do
so.
the training?
I was talking with the village and with Kathy, because this is all coming out, there's all kinds of people that have been sending us different information about it. MBCC has a group that's going to be getting together that is willing to do it, so we're gonna look out there, maybe we can do something combined with the village too,
Right.
since there's so many.
You probably want me to do the training too, don't you?
Not at all.
Of what not to do.
I'm not going to say Joe Booth. I'll get it.
No, I
because then
won't go
they'll
that
say
way
Rick.
anymore. Don't worry.
See, I was trying to keep this, you know,
Right, yeah, so this is the first step of what we have to do,
Okay.
is to adopt the policy.
I'll make the motion, we adopt it with the number 3, being the appropriate person, being the town supervisor, being inserted in.
In all other places where it's called for. It's supposed to be in 7 or other places.
Motion by Rich,
I second it.
second by Phil, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Barb. We had a change order for a fence up on Sherrillbrook around the playground area. We actually wanted to open that up a little bit more on the back end there and away from the road. There's an additional fee to that, but the total cost from the total cost for the fence complete is $74.68, $7,468. I didn't have the email from the last meeting from last week, but it was like $60-something hundred. It was about $560 more. So, which comes from the grant, yeah, but it's just adding some additional fence.
Is that like a 4-foot fence or is that 6 feet?
That was the 4-foot fence around the playground. And we did that because what happens is where the playground is, it's close to the road, and kids, would run the road. Right now, they'd be, so if their parents sitting on the bench, their kid would kind of not be able to run in the road, so that was a nice, it's like over in Chadwick's. there's a fence around the playground over there, so.
That's good. I'll make a motion. Accept the additional fee.
Okay. Motion by Jim, second by Phil, discussion, all in favor? Aye. Great, thanks. Okay, it's the budget, I guess that's the only thing left that I have. One thing I did want to add is Chadwick's Park came real nice job. I want to thank Rick for all his help, and Chris, and all the guys that are out there too helping. It looks really good. They're probably going to have this finished up by the end of this fall, which is great because they're ahead of schedule. We thought the spring would be done, but it's coming really nice. They put the guardrail in there near the pavilion, which I thought would be a good safety addition. Again, kids running off the pavilion and stuff, get the cars away from that. They put some nice sidewalks in, grass looks great, LED lighting's in, big improvement. So thanks, Rick, thanks, Chris.
Well, Jack.
Good job.
So, great guys, well, budget's next. Yeah, well, Chief. Chief had some discussion for
Oh, I'm
some
sorry.
police. He wanted to talk about it, so.
Okay, I do. I would like the board to entertain some additions to a couple of areas of my budget. The first one being the animal control officer budget. Currently, our animal control officer is operating a 2010 F-150. It's got about 140,000 miles on it. The undercarriage is rusted. The rocker panels are starting to rust and so forth. It's been out of service at least a half a dozen times this year, resulting in...
No, actually, I was meaning, you said you had some additional
I'm sorry.
manpower hours in the
Oh,
mills.
I must say, manpower hours.
For the mills, you were talking about the car.
Oh, want to talk?
Yeah, we do the budget. No, you want to talk about,
I'm sorry,
no, that's okay.
my fault. New York Mills, we have noticed an increase in our call volume regarding the part of New York Mills that's in the town of Hartford. It's mostly due to New York Mills not having the car out 24/7 anymore. There are a few shifts a week where they have no coverage. In that case, the 911 center is sending 1 or 2 town police cars into the New Hartford part of New York Mills to handle these calls. If that's not, if it's not us handling the call, then we're having at least one zone car assist New York Mills backing on alarms, domestics, and any other complaints in progress. It has been, I tried to track the actual increase in call volume through our records management system, and we just put into effect yesterday, actually, a way to do that through RMS. Right now, we need a specific address to tell if it's in the village or the town. We are now tracking it through our guys when they enter these assists in the computer system as assisting New York Mills PD, assisting New York Mills Fire, and complaint handling Village of New York Mills Town of Hartford. So we haven't, I can't put a specific number on it other than to tell you it is dozens and dozens of incidents, more than we have had in the last few years, a marked increase.
Are they anticipating going back to 24-hour coverage or no?
You know, I haven't had any discussions with the Village of New York Mills, so I really can't answer that. I believe at this point they have 3 full-time officers and a part-time officer in charge.
Any recommended solutions, or are you looking at this from?
I think this is leading into a further part of the discussion on whether there is some type of revenue that can be obtained through the residents that live in the town of Hartford, part of the Village of New York Mills, to make up for the response that our police department is providing to the residents of New York Mills that, according to my understanding, are not paying any type of fee for police services.
Yeah, and the chief was kind enough to forward an email that Kathy Lawrence had sent, and Paul forwarded it to me as well, which is exactly on point, along with an opinion of the state controller's office. And basically what it says is that village property is exempt from being assessed for town police unless the department was established after January 160 and there are less than 4 full-time civil service police officers. That would exempt them out. If it was established before 60, then it would be done by an agreement with the other municipality to assess those property owners in the village of New York Mills. Now, I called the state controller's office and I talked to them, and I know Dan talked to them after me, and they indicated this is still good law. This has never been changed in terms of how budget-wise it would be handled. The key thing is, and I asked Gail earlier, and I was trying to get actually Earl Cunningham, because I've been told, and you guys probably know more than I do, that the police department at some point was a village police department. And then in 1984, which is after 1960, obviously, that's when the town police department was created and the village was combined with it.
Right.
My recollection was prior to that, the town may have had some kind of a part-time
Yes.
force. I was also told that sometime thereafter, the police force was actually disbanded, but then started up again. Yeah, I'm not sure of that. So I don't know if we're dealing with pre-60 or post-1960.
I don't know of any time that the police department was disbanded.
I think at one point, and this is, again, I couldn't find
Town
any.
police, yes.
Well, town police.
Yes.
The
Yeah.
town.
And then the
Yeah.
town contracted with the village to provide police services to the town for a handful of years, maybe not quite that long.
And then it was
the town
consolidated.
took them, yes.
Yes.
So if a town police department was established after January 1 of 60, so there was a town police department, it then was disbanded because the village took it over, then it was recreated. I think we're under the newer section, which says if they don't have 4 full-time police officers, we can assess a charge. And I don't know if Dan, you talked to the controller?
Yeah,
Is it okay if he
Yeah, sure.
updates it?
yeah, so I spoke with someone in the controller's office, and they've rendered opinions on this in the past, because I think it's been an ongoing issue as far as how we account for, police as a quasi part-town fund, because we carve out the village of New York Mills. So if we basically, he said if we basically include the village of New York Mills, it almost becomes, and I think this was done at the time prior to my time, accounting for it as a whole, within the whole town, the police was. I just don't know how it would all come about with, charging, how, between the village of New York Mills and the town of Hartford, coming up with a rate to charge just those village people, because they're paying also a village tax, I think, for the same thing. So it kind of, that's a little sticky.
Dave, and somebody said this was done before, the previous.
Well, that's what I was going to say. This issue, when they had a full-time force, 24/7,
They being New York
New
Mills.
York Mills, this came to light, and that's when budgets got adjusted to reflect where we are today.
Right, we took them out, they were taken out of the whole town, and they weren't, the village residents of New York Mills were not charged
Right.
a tax.
So now they are using the service.
So these,
But the village of New York Mills still has, 3 officers that they pay salaries, benefits, and they're, I'm assuming, charging those residents a tax for that to cover those costs.
So the only question is, what would the fee be? What's a fair price?
Yeah.
And it may behoove them to pay us as opposed to put a full-time officer on, but how does that affect us, manpower-wise?
you know how they used to, I'm sorry, do it before, how they came up with the figure? You do?
I do. It's back in Earl Reed's days, and when Heather was here. Heather was involved in that,
Doing the computation?
doing it, yes.
Was it not based on calls, it was probably,
No.
No,
It's
there
just-
was there was a formula.
It's
Yeah.
a formula that
Fairbrother
she used.
to do it. So we might be able to pull out her notes.
And at that time, did New York Mills have any type of a part-time force?
Yes, they always have.
Oh, good, so that really would
They've
be
gone,
just,
I think they've gone from full-time to part-time to full-time to part-time.
Right.
okay. So it'd be a matter of taking that formula and,
You know, we've done it before, so we have the notes. And
do you think Heather would share the formula,
I'm sure she would.
Dan?
I'm sure it was Dan.
Yeah, I mean, that's just.
can you handle the volume?
Yes, we're doing it now as it is. We really don't have a choice. We're sent, as in the town of Hartford. We have to go, so we're doing the work now.
And I believe they've had 3 full-time only for the past like 6 years anyway. They haven't hired anyone.
You know,
So, but again, if it's putting a strain on us, I mean, if we're taking a lot of calls, it's not fair to the rest of the residents. It's fair to, you know.
well, it takes a car out of.
Exactly, that's what I mean, but it's not right. It takes it out of somewhere else that's paying the full police charge.
Well, I guess we're looking at that formula, and we have to take into consideration, I mean, times have changed, so areas have changed, I mean, so.
Oh, I agree.
You know, that formula may not be, might be adequate then, but maybe not now, so what I'm suggesting is probably show.
Well, the costs are down there.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of variables in there that's gonna.
Well, that may have factored it in back then, we may have used the average salaries or whatever, so. But
how would we move this forward for full-time plus a junior?
Come up with a formula, that's what it boils down to. Come up with a fee that we're charging New York Mills.
Well, I don't, yeah, it's a tax assessment.
Right.
You know, we got to become part of the police one in some way, but we're not going to pay the full rate that a regular town resident would pay. I don't think it would be the same rate.
Do they break out their police protection now in New York Mills?
how was it done before?
They took the police and they put it all in general whole town, so
Right.
we did not have a police. Everybody paid general whole town tax, and it was.
There was no line item for police?
There was a line item for police, but it was all in general whole town. And then
Okay.
the tax, the tax rate was the tax rate that everybody paid.
And New York Mills paid the same?
They paid the same rate.
I think there was a different one, because I think it was called General Hometown.
Yeah, general whole town.
But wasn't it called General Hometown Police, because there was a separate one they did for New York Mills?
That's when they
Residents didn't
split
get
them
the
off.
two.
That's when they split them off.
Before we put it into the BP fund?
That was why you put in the BP funds, because the controller said it had to be split off.
Right, but before that, because I thought when I did payroll with Carol, when I was learning it with her, I
Mhm.
thought there was like calculations, we always had to do every payroll because of it being this separate. Because it was so
Not
long.
that, you know, I've got old budgets, and I can look it up, but as far as I know, everything was in general whole town, and everybody in the town paid the same tax. Yeah.
Well, that's what I was saying.
We don't need anything in the state or anything.
No, but when's our next meeting coming up?
24th.
Oh, he's funny.
Sit tomorrow.
Do you want to? I can't. I'm free.
Moving right along.
Careful what you wish for.
So we're going to try to establish a rate.
Why don't I just a contract?
We can't do it by contract, we didn't sign it. We never signed it.
Charge the full bill.
Oh, that's
And I
what was
don't,
done
I mean,
before.
the question I have is, should the rate for everybody be the same if in fact New York Mills is funding their quote-unquote village police? So I don't know the answer to that.
Let's see how it shapes up.
Yeah, but I'd reference back to if,
Yeah.
if they were paying it before both, you know what I mean, then maybe we should
Right.
keep it
Yeah.
where it was. distribution wise.
At least review that and see if it's still.
Right.
And then again, if we're going as much as we are,
Yeah.
it's costing us the money, so.
And that was my point is, even though the formula that was in place at that time was okay, but now times have changed, crime is, could be up, and, now there's more retail than what was,
Sure.
whatever's drawing the patrols charge. I just want to make sure that we're adequately reimbursed.
Oh, sure, I agree, because the cost is large.
Yeah, everything.
Thanks, Kathy.
All right. Yes, thank you, everybody, thanks, Chief. Thank you. Okay, any other items anyone has besides the budget? Anything
Besides the budget.
besides the budget? No. Dan, Gail? No? Okay. All right, next is the budget, tentative annual budget. You guys take a look at it. Any questions, answers? Want to start with Phil, go around?
I just have one question for
Sure.
Dan. Dan, on the estimated revenue tax, highway, town, 3.4 million.
Majority of it's probably sales tax, highway part-time.
Okay.
Yeah, the majority of it is.
What do you say, Nick?
2.9 million is sales tax, yeah. And just over, like ice control and different things that Rick gets from other municipalities, private sales, but the majority of it is
Sales tax.
sales tax.
Okay, thank you.
My one question on this.
Jim?
Yeah, I haven't had time to go through this.
Okay.
I didn't know this was the meeting for this, but just that something is, if we could possibly, is there any way we can get this budget in September versus October?
I mean,
I'm just adding, because, I want to make sure we do our due diligence.
sure.
I don't put, nobody, constraints on anyone, so. I
Maybe
just,
you can get a, I don't know if it'll be a final, it doesn't have to be presented to Gail's tentative budget until October 4th or 5th. I don't know if that's something.
maybe the last week in
We have to
September.
we start the process now in August, we have to probably start in June or July.
No.
That's no
You
problem.
know, we're halfway through one year.
Might have a couple more weeks.
What do you think, Joe?
Joe's is easy, it's ridiculous. But, try.
Just a thought.
Yeah,
You don't have to commit to it today or anything, just something that.
Do you want to have another, I know Dave's gonna say it, but do you want to have another meeting too, to set it? I mean, I don't know if we have time.
We set this public hearing.
Okay.
24th.
We gotta
Yeah, we have
Just
to
the-
go from a tentative to preliminary.
Right.
You've got to go, you have to, if you're gonna have the hearing on February, on October 24th, you have to adopt the tentative budget with or without any changes. It's a preliminary budget tonight.
Right, okay.
Changes.
Right.
Somehow I misunderstood. I thought the 24th was we're going to go through, actually just.
No, that's a public.
And then you're
Another
gonna
public
vote
hearing in
on
November.
it. Then you're gonna vote on it November 5th.
Because you may have changes after the public hearing.
Probably going to go through.
All right, we'll do
the plans.
We go for Rich?
I've got some changes from the police department that Sarah might want to speak about.
There you go.
All right, we covered pretty much the ACO truck. It is a need that I would like to see the board entertain. I'm looking for $34,000 to be added to the ACO budget. And again, to replace a truck. Rich, you want me to go on?
Yeah, you can do the other
All right, so that would be on the ACO budget. On the police department end of it, I'd like to see 20,000 added into my equipment budget. There are state and federal mandates out there that basically require us to videotape any felony police interrogation and interview. We only have 2 rooms that we are currently able to record these interviews on. And a lot of times we wind up having victims that we want to start to interview at the same time. We might have 4 or 5 people in the station. We only have 2 rooms that we can conduct these videotaped interview sessions on. I have priced out a new system. It would include 9 cameras, all going to a hard drive with a backup. It can be accessed anywhere from 60 to 90 days before it starts to rewrite itself. So when we get subpoenas or requests from the DAs or attorneys, we have the access to go back in and draw those interviews and interrogations out to produce that type of documentation. So I'd like to see 20,000 added to the equipment part of the police department budget. I'd like to also address the overtime. I'd like to see $15,000 added to it. My current 2018 overtime budget's about $90,000. We are projected to spend $90,000 this year just by computing what we have spent year to date. So I think the preliminary numbers that have come out, I've got about 80,000 allotted for 2019. I think that's setting my budget up for, I'd like to see 15,000 added back into the overtime part of my budget.
Yeah, be okay with those changes. If we added those in, and we're okay with the tax cap?
Yeah,
I'd make the motion, we accept those changes.
We'll go around first. Dave?
Just a couple things tonight, I'm still going through it, but I think it's worth mentioning our healthcare costs are just out of sight. Just this one line item, BP 9060 is up over $100,000 or $100,000 for healthcare, and there are several other line items that reflect a significant increase in healthcare. It's a lot of money.
I agree.
The other thing is the nutrition center or the senior center. I want to add in the stove and refrigerator. I don't know if we're going to have a new building, that really should have been in the building, I would think, but if it's not, it needs to be in this budget. And I don't have a solid figure to give you. Eileen, do you have a figure?
Roughly, it'll be about 12,000 between the 2 of them, but the Ansel system, you have to have that when you have the stove.
That's included in
That's
the
in
building
there.
because that's a stationary part of the building.
You'll
so
have the Ansel system?
I
That's in
included that, but I didn't for a stove and refrigerator because I didn't know. If you,
Yeah, I can give you the figures, but roughly about 12,000 between the 2 of them.
Right.
We already have the freezer, we have the dishwasher, so all we need is the commercial, the stove and the, yeah, and the refrigerator.
yeah. Again, a lot of people said they would help, but I don't see anything. So we
Right.
got to know next year. We're not going to have one.
Let's put it in the budget.
Well, put it in the on the safe side, but I did speak to Assemblyman Brian Miller,
Yeah,
and he
so have
wants
I.
to help us. You do have to break.
Yeah, me too. He stopped in my office and we talked about it.
But we can't count on it, so let's put it in the budget.
Please do. And then Jen Squadrito from Community Foundation, I think they want to do something too. So that's why I'm working on, hopefully we get some funding from them also, working on that grant. Did you speak to her? I asked her to call you.
I'm sorry.
Jen Squadrito, she's from the Community Foundation.
I haven't talked to her yet. Just Brian Miller, and I spoke to somebody from
There's hope there. We need something else from Jen.
Senior, New York State Senior Services thing council or whatever, that they have grants and things.
Great, okay.
I don't remember the exact name, but I spoke to them. I got an email too, so.
All right, so let's add 12,000 to the budget. And I may have some other questions, but I'm not through going. I'm not going to go through it. Plus, we got a public hearing.
I got a couple things. Okay, the drainage account. I spoke with Dan. I always used to go in general whole town. There's 30,000 there in drainage. I asked to move that over to highway part-town because it's Rick's drainage budget and it's not in Old Town. So that there, I know it was always there, but I don't know why it would be. It doesn't go there, so. I don't know if you guys can see that on 7 of 8. It's account AA 8540-04. In fact, I asked Dan to take out all those property tax, Woodbury, contra retention pond, stormwater.
But they're zero anyways.
Yeah, well, just the,
I do have one other item also. Are you done? I'm sorry.
no, I mean, is that, we'll move that over, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, and then I had, you want me to just finish mine?
Yeah, go ahead,
Okay.
go ahead, go ahead.
All right, then another thing is, just for clarification, if you go over to highway whole town revenues, if you look here for appropriation fund balance, last year, as you know, we put $65,000 in for the bridge in New York Mills. That $65,000 we didn't spend for the bridge, so we wanted to put that over, so it'd be an encumbrance from this year over. So the way we put it in there is the $65,000 in contractual to spend it, and then we said we were taking it at a fund balance, but actually it's an encumbrance bringing it over. So again, I don't know what, you know.
Yeah, I mean, that's the crude way that we're showing it. Our current accounting system is really effective with encumbrance accounting, so that's kind of just how it's being shown, but that's truly what it is. It's just an expenditure that isn't going to be made in 2018 that we want to appropriate or encumber the money that we spent in 2019 budget.
I just wanted to clarify that, so you guys knew where that was coming from. And then if you look here at DB 514004, that I put in the budget is $35,000 for brush and weed for Rick. Try to get those extra couple weeks in October because we ran shy this year, but it came back out at 30, so I don't know. Again, it's not going to change anything, but it's in there at 30 in this paper, but then it's 35 on the back end, so I don't know. But it's 35, it should be, that's
So you
what
want to correct that to 35?
Yeah, in the budget here, yeah. We already got it corrected, but it's in here, it's 30, so.
Okay.
Do we put anything in for trees or anything?
I didn't put, I just did brush and weeds, I didn't put anything in there for trees. I didn't, so there's a couple things I didn't put in there, was trees, we were gonna discuss. Also to the Memorial Park over there. Through the years, if you look at the pond, there's all kinds of algae in there. Rick's gonna look into trying to find another guy to come in and do an algicide to clean it, but the only estimates I got was like $4,000 or $5,000 to do that. You know, again, to DEC requirements. So I don't, you know, that's another thing too that I didn't put in there. So I didn't put that in. And I didn't put the trees in that we spoke about, Jim, so.
I do have a couple other things. Page 2 of 8, under personnel,
What number?
AA 1430-01, personal technician 2,
Yep.
went from 54,800 to 71,000.
Yeah, so that's Barb. As you know, last year, we gave her the raises last year.
Okay.
During the board meeting. That was for her to take over the internet work, and also to, she was, you know, she's in my office.
Yeah, no problem. I just didn't know where that fell under.
Yeah,
But
yep.
no, I remember that. And then the next page, 3 of 8, buildings, personal services, AA 1620-01. That went up from 24,500 to 40,005.
Yeah, so that one really was pretty much like a lateral change. So that's Sheldon from Parks. He's one of the employees that are there, has been there a long time. So we were going to use him for buildings and grounds in Rick's team, and then he actually just came out of Parks, but he'll still be used. Well, he'll actually be used only for buildings and grounds. The Gander Mountain doing cleaning there and stuff, also doing weed whacking, you know, helping Rick with the cul-de-sacs and
So
stuff.
he's done, it's just a difference.
Exactly, we moved him from Parks to Rick's, and I think it would help because he'll be able to he'll be mobile more, you know, buildings and grounds than he will in the parks, so.
he's the one who's doing the cul-de-sac, mowing the cul-de-sacs?
Not the cul-de-sacs, I misspoke. It's doing weed whacking like on the
He does the weed whacking around the soccer field, he weed whacks around our building,
yeah,
our gate, fence. He does all that, he does a lot of weed whacking.
right of ways, that's what I was trying to come up with. He does like the right of ways on the side of the road. and-
So that increase is not really
No, there's no increase because it just came out of, he's still in the same union. In fact, I don't know, we gotta talk about that because he might have to move over. But, no, same, there's no increase. It just came out of parks and went to Rick's buildings and grounds.
Lastly, just going through, I see a lot of department heads would have salary increases, but the highway superintendent, there's no increase there.
I put an increase in sewer for Rick, because again, we got a lot of pump station work this year. He's got to coordinate and do a lot of work with that stuff. So, I think going forward, we want to keep those upgraded. We haven't done any work on those in a long time. And I think in the next, 3 to 4 years, Rick's going to have a lot of work ahead of him, getting those up and running the right way. We want to install generators, correct?
Yes.
That's why we put the extra 60,000 in there, for improvements and upgrades. So again, I thought that would be more in line with the new tasks that he's going to be doing, so.
I just want to make sure it's being.
Yeah, I did it in sewer. If you look at sewer, his raises.
That's way in the back.
That's what I had off
On the fire districts,
Yep.
Districts 1 and 2, I talked to Dan. The current rate is 0.7769, and I'm asking to go to 0.8033. And again, I talked with Dan, and he was okay with it. Is that the correct figure, Dan?
Yeah.
0.8033?
Yeah, they're asking for 2% rate
Right.
increase. It equates to over $20,000.
Right.
So just quick, Dave, where does that affect? I mean, it affects where? Up in the hills?
Basically, everything except the hills. We call the hills your neighborhood. You're not affected.
Okay.
You're in District 3, which is 7462.7462. So it's the commercial district, it's everything that way.
The contract is still the same, where we're going with 20,000 in the contract.
On the contract amount.
Just circling back to the police department.
Sure.
The equipment for the cameras, should that be in the building too? I mean,
Well, again, I only put stuff in the building that was, infrastructure to the building. So if you have a camera for interviewing, you could take that, walk away. So I think that's, a different kind of
These
equipment.
aren't like,
No, the perimeter cameras and all are in the money of the building.
Okay.
No, all that's done. This is for interviewing, correct, Chief?
Yes.
Interviewing, and so it's not really part, it's something that's a preference of the police, they have to get the right equipment. I only spec'd out like, the computer stuff and everything, the infrastructure of the building itself.
So the security cameras on the perimeter of the building
That's included
are
in
in the building.
the building. In the money that we have, I allocated and expensed and everything, but, again, like the Ansel system is part of the building, I can rip that out. But the stone refrigerator you could take out and go home with, you know what I mean? So that, I didn't put that in there. So,
Getting back to Dave's thing about the kitchen equipment, that's going to trigger the need for a grease trap. And that's going to be pricey.
okay.
You might want to consider that tonight.
That should be in the building
Well, there's a grease trap in the building already
for the police
for the
department.
police department in the garage.
That's an oil separator.
Different.
Different.
I thought there was a grease trap also being put in there for the kitchen, for the. Okay,
No stove or anything, you don't have your microwave in the break room.
that's it, okay.
that should be in the building.
Yeah, well, that will be.
How much is that?
Five.
Okay.
Not in the budget, in the building.
Yeah, it's gonna be in the building. It will be.
So that would make that number set 12,000.
No, it'll come out of the building.
It's gotta go in the building, not the budget.
Right. No, that'll come out of the building if it's necessary for the kitchen.
Through our inspections we've seen there's one that goes in underneath that's portable. There's also one that goes in the floor that's inside the building.
Right.
There's also one that they put outside. And you can, with manual cover, that you can get clean from the outside of the building. Because it does, if it's not cleaned properly, it does stink, big time. And I don't think you want that inside the building.
You think the outside one's probably the best?
Agreed?
I don't think the volume is gonna.
Yeah, there's no deep fryers
No.
or anything like that. It's not
You could go
they're not,
smaller
not like a
and
restaurant
smaller.
where you're generating
Yes.
grease.
As a matter of fact, I didn't think about the above ground one. It's all gonna depend on elevation, whether they can do above ground or if they go in.
Okay. I'll talk to him about that. Any other questions?
Well, we have to figure out.
Oh, I don't know, yeah. We won't know until next week. We can approve this and then we'll talk about it. If it comes over crazy, then we have to change it at the next meeting. Any other ideas, questions?
Not for me.
Make a motion.
Motion?
Motion to adopt the tentative budget as the preliminary budget, subject to the changes that have been put forward tonight, and ask Gail to make them available.
Motion by Rich,
Second.
second by Jim. Discussion? All in favor? Aye.
How many copies, how do you do that?
I think they make, or if they make 25.
Everybody, where, do people ask for them electronically as well?
And then we gotta set the public hearing,
We did.
October 24th. Did we set it?
That's what she said, yeah.
Oh, that's right. All right, so she's got to put a public hearing on
24th and 6th, right?
24th, it is, yep.
The public hearing is set.
Just wanted to make sure that's.
That gives you enough time, Gail?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? Concerns?
Just a sure. Quick note, thank you from the neighbors on Janet and Wells, the tree.
What do you think? It came nice?
Really nice.
Good, good.
Last night.
Yep.
But, a lot of people have commented, and thank you.
Okay.
Whoever else was involved.
Yep, thanks Chris, too. and everybody. Thank you. Okay, cleaned it up nice. You can see it now from Oxford Road.
Yeah. It just makes it whole neighborhood. House down for 2 hours. And the center.
Oh, on the point?
The cul-de-sac. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the pine tree?
Yeah.
Question for you. do we need to make a resolution for lane closure to clean Seneca Turnpike area up there, up through this?
We already talked to DOT,
Okay.
and it's all set for next week. Give us the lane closure, we'll go in there. We'll clean up the sidewalk by the wall there, and then we got a couple ideas of what we're gonna do for the sidewalk and the pavers.
Okay.
In the park area, so that right from the village line, we'll look up through there, crossing the Utica National,
Yep,
to that little park there, and then crosses over to the Memorial Park,
okay,
and then up through there. That's
Okay.
what we got tentative at the schedule for next week.
all right, perfect. So yeah, Rick's gonna clean up all the sidewalks, everything going through. We got a bunch of complaints on them, so and it'll clean it up, make it look nice. We got the mums for the Memorial Park. If somebody wanted to complain about the mums, we got that. But the waters really doesn't look that great. So we gotta figure something out with that. And then the second thing is, Rick's gonna hydro seed in the front again, so to clean that up, because a lot of people have been calling.
You know what's, where the grass seed's going, is your guess was correct.
Yeah, it's all the geese are eating.
The geese are eating geese are in there.
I don't know.
We gotta get them, wait till they're free.
They're gonna feed them.
They'll leave.
Keep feeding them.
Yeah, they'll stay right there.
So I don't know, we've hydro seeded like 2-3 times, but I can't get grass to grow, because I don't know, but all the geese are there now, so.
Good ask.
We did try, just for the record.
We'll give Agway a call, see if there's something we can put in the mix that discourages them, not kill them, but
Yeah,
discourages them.
right.
Yeah, we can't mess with the geese, we'll get in trouble.
Yeah.
My wife
They
went
can
out there
mess
with
with
picket
us.
signs.
Yeah.
That's what the geese. So, all right, but I just want to bring it up about the Memorial Park, so, but,
Supervisor, I'll show you drain the swamp.
yeah, I guess there's a lot of regulations to the algae growth in there, so.
Motion to adjourn is all set.
Motion by Jim, second by Dave,
7:01.
discussion. All in favor? Aye.
You had to wait that
Thanks,
extra minute.
everybody.
Yes.